It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car's gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Hey, it's 10 a.m. and this is Utah's best sports radio.
Say my name.
You're locked on to Scotty G and the coach, Tim LeCaux, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, let's get it, folks. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Utah head coach Morgan Scalley will join us coming up here in just a moment right out of the gate. But, hey, it's a weekend of celebration as the Jazz will have the number 2 overall selection in the NBA draft in June. Coach, good vibes came through for us.
Woo! Or you know what? We just kind of left it alone.
Yes.
We let it be, and finally, as Ryan Smith said, the math.
Yep.
And what a year for it to do that. Very deep and rich draft. We'll get into all the details, but man, I think everybody was standing around. I saw a ton of people videoing it. David Locke's reaction on video. So it was an incredible day in the state of Utah and for the Utah Jazz.
All right. I'm always wondering when I watch those videos, and not saying David did anything here, but like, how many of those do you think people go back and like pull up the DVR and like recreate it?
Oh, no. Okay, now this time.
Okay, now this time. No, you weren't excited enough. Now do it over again.
You got off the ground higher last time.
Well, we'll talk a lot of NBA draft lottery as the Jazz have the new number 2 overall selection. A man who I think, I know he doesn't have a lot of time to break down NBA draft, but I got to imagine was a little fired up yesterday. Morgan Scalley, Utah head coach and longtime Jazz fan, joining us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. How are you, sir?
Doing well, brother. How are you, Scotty?
Oh, man, I'm so good. Come on, there was a little bit of excitement in the Scalley house when you found out the Jazz were picking number 2.
You better believe it. We need to see the Jazz get back to greatness, brother. And
yes.
I've always been a Jazz fan. My son's somewhat of a bandwagon fan, and so we need to get him back on the bandwagon.
Coach, hope you're doing well. Appreciate you joining us today. I was in that spot where, the head coach is kind of one rung above you, and you're doing your best to keep things afloat. And all of a sudden, the door opened for you, and you move obviously into the. I don't know what it is. You don't move up a seat. I guess you move up your whistle is gold or something. I don't know what you get, but congrats on that. And just what has that been like? Not an all-encompassing thing, but what it's been like to go through that this off season.
It was obviously hectic at first when things were going on, but ultimately once we settled down, got the staff in place, it really was a pretty smooth transition. Spring ball was so much about making sure that the new staff and the players understood the culture, and I thought. Spring ball went very well. This season is all about really the development of the offensive line, defensive line. That's how this season's gonna go, bottom line. And I love what Jordan Gross, Kay Brechterfield, Luther Ellis have done at both of those position groups. Obviously, replacing 2 first-round draft picks on the offensive line is a tall task. But I love the guys that we have in place, and like I said, I thought spring ball was a success.
So I'm going to give you my most underrated hire you made because everybody's going to talk about Jordan Gross, and rightfully so. Just an incredible person, incredible player. But to help make his job a little easier, I think the addition of Alex Gerke, I think, was a really smart move on your part to really bring in some knowledge of that offensive line and really help Jordan make that transition into college coaching. What's he meant like to that offensive line room and how they've come together?
Well, just that seasoned experience, and like you mentioned, Jordan had been coaching high school ball, but Jordan had a PhD in scheme. He understands offensive line play. It was, having Gerke helped him establish kind of the culture he wanted in the offensive line room, but also helped Jordan understand how we do things at the college level, everything from compliance to recruiting and so you're right. Very, very underrated hire, and Alex has been nothing but great with these young men.
Coach, obviously the quarterback situation is a good one. There seems to be a great amount of depth there with your quarterbacks, and you got great options in both. How are both progressing? And you don't want to show your hand, but I would assume you, like last year, you use both those guys to kind of throw the opponents off.
Yeah, I mean, as a defensive coordinator, I'm always looking for things that I would struggle with. And having two quarterbacks that are athletic, that can throw the ball, run the ball, that's something definitely that we're going to utilize. Both those young men are great leaders, both understand, the scheme, and they're hungry. Those two, as good of friends as they are, they're also very competitive. And so that's what makes for good depth is having guys that are competing. So, love those two. That was a huge coup to keep those guys in the program, and so you can't win a championship without a quarterback, and without depth at quarterback.
So I was talking to your the coach up at Utah State, Bronco Mendenhall, and he mentioned with the 5-for-5 thing that he was holding on to a spot or two just in case it does become retroactive, and he can add guys from last year's team that would qualify for that. Now, the rule coming out now says, or at least that is proposed, is that nobody will be back, but that the lawsuits will soon follow. How are you playing your roster in terms of open spots just in case you do have an opportunity to add some guys at the last second?
Yeah, that's something we've been working with our GM on. And I don't know that we have a ton of guys in that boat, but definitely some significant players that, would benefit, that we would benefit, they would benefit from coming back as well. So really it's almost like you're dealing with the portal with those guys and making sure that the numbers are going to work out. If you had a crystal ball, it'd be much easier. But at the same time, that's why we pay the GM and his assistant the money that we do.
Are you in favor overall of the 5-for-5?
I am in favor of it.
Why is that?
I'm in favor of it simply because everyone knows, okay, here you've got 5 years to play, no matter how many games. There is no red shirt. People aren't worried about a red shirt. Am I going to red shirt this year? It's just, if you can play and you can help us win. I always thought it was the detriment to the player of not, being able to play more than four games and limiting what they can do. I also think that there comes a point in time where players do need to move on when you've got the difference in age and that we do in college football now since COVID. And then, obviously the church service, the mission, that's going to play a factor in that. They won't be penalized for church service, for military service. So that was, I know big for people in this state, was to make sure that a part of that 5-for-5 was not penalizing those that wanted to go on missions.
The hiring of Kevin McGivern, very, very innovative. I mean, and it's been all over the place. Louisiana Tech, Southern Utah, BYU, Oregon State, Utah State most recently. But honestly, the thing that when I've watched his teams, man, he loves to fling that thing around. Are you looking to open the offense a little bit from, the days, obviously ball possessions and all that is so important, but are you going to try to open things up and maybe take a few more chances here and there?
Well, we're going to do what, I want to be explosive no matter where that comes from. And if we're an explosive offense, but we're not physical, to me, that's the detriment to the entire team. You have to be physical, period, end of story, because a lack of physicality gets exposed at the highest levels. And so the priority, the premium is on physicality, and then explosive football, obviously explosive plays that can be from running the ball, from catching the ball. I think we have one of the best wide receiver groups we've had since I've been here. And so, yeah, we want to get our playmakers the ball, but, ultimately, if you're not practicing physical football, if you're just spreading the ball out and you're throwing it every single down, I don't think your defense gets tougher or more physical doing that. You have to play complementary football, and that's what Kevin's offense does. And Kevin and I are on the same page. Yes, we want to be explosive. Yes, we want to get chunk yardage, but not at the detriment of or sacrificing physicality.
Morgan Scalley, head coach at the University of Utah, joining us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I'm curious to know what a game week will look like in terms of you and your responsibility, and then also Colton Swan. Are you sitting in on those defensive meetings in terms of game plan? I know Colton will have the duties on Saturday, but is it going to be tough to you to hand the reins completely over to him? Will you have some involvement? What's that going to look like?
Yeah, I've tried to be as hands off as I can. And I understand, and if there's questions as to what I'm seeing schematically, I'll ask him. But Colton Swan's been with me long enough to have earned my trust, to be able to call a game. He's called it before at Weber. So this is a guy that's very well equipped to do the job. Am I there for him as a sounding board? You bet. Will I give my, opinion on things? Yes, but he needs to know that he has my full support, and I'm excited to see what he can do. Already in spring, it's tough to sit there and not get involved. But I think the easier thing for me was to go over on the offensive side to get away from it. That's been, I think, for me, one of the most important things for me was to be a voice on the offensive side, simply because those players haven't heard a lot from me, other than yelling and screaming on the defensive side. So even to be in the offensive staff rooms to talk about, what would give me fits, be a sounding board for them as well. I think that type of collaboration only improves what you do on both sides of the ball.
I love your tweets, Coach. And you're a really optimistic, positive guy. And not all people are like that. So I hit retweet on a lot of your stuff. I like your stuff. But in all honesty, where did that get instilled? Who are some of the people along the way that instilled that positivity? Kind of that. That you were that way as a player too. I loved watching you play and fly around and give everything you had. But who instilled that in you? Give me a couple names of people that were pivotal in that for you.
Man, I just think, experience throughout my life. I'm an avid reader. I love to read. I love the education process. I love what football's done for me, those who breathe life into me as a football player, and who, when I was maybe not in love with football, breathed life into me. But, I think hard times in life really help you recognize what you actually have in life and how grateful, that brings a whole lot of gratitude. You can go through hell and really find beauty in it. And so knowing that type of pain, knowing that type of darkness, you can be there for other people in their pain. Everyone's going through something. Everyone's got something hard going on in their life. If not, they have got a family member. And I just think there's too much negativity, comparison going on in social media that causes whether it be mental health problem, whatever it is, unrealistic expectations. I just think we need to be better and more understanding with each other.
Amen and hallelujah. I will just leave that at there. Love that answer.
Hey, before we let you go, I get asked a lot, who are the coaches I really look up to? Who are the coaches I love being around? You're always at the top of the list. And right there next to you is Sharif. What's it like been going on this journey, not just for yourself and this transition, but to have Sharif there right next to you?
Yeah, he's a guy that when I was a player, he was so inspiring. His passion for the game, his passion for Utah, and what Utah did for him really inspired me. As a young coach, I remember just talking to him. He was a sideline reporter. And I said, at some point, we're going to be working together, dude. And, a few years later, it was happening. And then it looked like we were going to be fired at some point. We had 2 5-7 seasons, and things weren't going great. And we ended up finishing up with I think a 10-win season. But even after that 10-win season, it wasn't looking good for us. Kalani had left. He took Elisa Tuyaki with him to Oregon State. So Sharif and I were sitting in the staff room together after a meeting that Kyle had with Chris Hill, and we didn't know what was going on. And so we're sitting there, neither of us knew what was going on. And we just looked at each other and said, well, let's just get to work. Let's just control what we can control. And this many years later, I mean, how good is God that we're still together. He is my best friend. That's my guy. And we've been through good times, bad times, and we've stuck it out together. So he's family and my best friend, and grateful to have him on staff.
He's the best. I don't know how he goes into a living room and doesn't close every single recruit, because I don't know how I don't know how anybody could say no to that guy.
Well, and he wouldn't let him out of the room.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's imposing.
Hey, and he's an attorney.
Yeah, exactly.
He knows exactly where he can walk to the line. You're right.
Well, Coach, we can't be happy enough for you. Looking forward to chatting with you throughout the season. Enjoy whatever kind of off season you get to have. I know it's probably not much, maybe a day or two in July, but until then, have a good one, and we'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for having me on.
You got it. One of the best dudes on the planet. There he is, Morgan Scalley, head coach, University of Utah, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Such a fan of his, and you just look at the track record, and like he talked about, man, it hadn't been all roses. And I think, we think of a 5-7 season, and certainly the fans, when that happens, it's like a dirty diaper. You just want to stay as far away as you can from it. The coaches, they have to go in. They have to go into the crime. They have to go where the crime was committed. They got to figure it all out, and then they got to make sure it doesn't happen again. So he's been through so much, and just an incredible ambassador for the university.
Hey, Lloyd's back in studio, and Lloyd may be on the phone or talking to Morgan. But just for the record, let it be known, we had a lot of guys on this staff take some heat for that time that Morgan was talking about. And because we had guys like Hands was one, Patrick Kinahan was one, Gordon Monson took a lot of heat on reporting what was going on at the University of Utah, and a lot of people didn't like what they had to say. I think that even though that was about 10 years ago, I think what Morgan just said gives a lot of validation to what the reports were and how dysfunctional things were at that point up on the Hill. Did you catch that, Lloyd?
I did, and I would agree.
I remember that saga for sure.
That.
Yeah, Yeah, and it was the thing, like, there's a lot of times where we have guys that'll say things. I've had times where, I've said some things, and what you're saying is absolutely true, and a lot of people aren't happy about it, and you're just like, hey, take it or not. This is what's going on. And I think there was some good validation there as to what that situation was really like.
What's great about time is that you can hide yourself or things for a period, but if it happened, it'll be known.
Yeah,
it'll be known.
Yeah, it usually comes to the forefront.
It does. I mean, except for JFK.
Well, yeah,
but I think we know there.
And the moon landing.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been a soundstage.
No, I just think there's too many people to cover that up.
They say the whole thing, the whole saga with NASA a couple of weeks ago was just filmed in the Sphere. The whole thing.
The Sphere?
Yeah.
You know what? Have you been there?
I have not.
We just went down just for a stock video, trip around the Earth. Just something they air to make money when there's in between concerts and stuff. And even that was just incredible. I can't imagine I can't imagine what a show like a real show would be like that.
I'm saving something really good for my first time. I got to figure that out, but nothing's grabbed me quite yet.
I know Backstreet Boys apparently puts on a hell of a show.
They do, but that's not for me. That's not for the coach.
Big thanks to Morgan Scalley for joining us. All right, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance is on now. Right now through May 25th, get up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Plus, score amazing doorbuster deals all sale long and surprise flash deals on Memorial Day. We're talking thousands of products at every style and budget. Now is the time to save big on must-haves for your patio, backyard, and beyond. These savings won't last, so don't wait. Shop Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance now through May 25th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
You can't predict the future, but you can prepare for it. Arizona State University is building degrees for what's ahead. Programs designed around emerging fields, taught by faculty whose research is shaping our future, not just teaching about it. It's why we've been ranked #1 in innovation for more than a decade. Your future is worth preparing for, and you don't have to prepare alone. Future-proof your career. Explore more than 350 programs at asuonline.asu.edu. That's a degree better.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car's gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
Now
I know y'all are tripping.
Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hey, look, we got NBA draft. The Jazz selecting number 2 in the upcoming NBA draft. So there will be a superstar playing in Salt Lake City. The only question now is who. We will get to that here in just a moment, but it is a major week. It is the PGA Championship, which means we're giving away some free stuff. Caller number 12, 801-575-ZONE, and you, call that number, will be assigned a golfer in the PGA Championship this week. If your golfer ends up winning the tournament, you will receive a Copper Rock logo golf bag and a $100 gas gift card. It's all brought to you by Copper Rock, where the pros play. Well, yesterday I was driving back from a family get-together, and I had my phone on. I was watching the draft lottery. It came back from commercial break with these final 4 selections. As the Jazz knew they were in the final 4, it just was a matter of where.
The 4th pick in the NBA draft goes to the Chicago Bulls. The 3rd pick will be made by the Memphis Grizzlies. Picking 2nd will be the Utah Jazz, and that means that the number 1 pick in the 2026 NBA draft goes to the Washington Wizards.
They're good. The Utah Jazz. So you knew Chicago, and you knew that Memphis had jumped up. Now the question was, did they leapfrog the Jazz? The answer to that was no. The Jazz slide up to number 2. Washington comes away with the number 1 overall pick. But they're a mess right now, and I think they are going to be shopping like they are on a Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving sale. Like they will be shopping that pick around like crazy because they are in salary cap hell, and they're trying to do everything they can to move some players, move things around. And so I think that number 1 pick is there to be had if the Jazz decide to go all in and get it and bring A.J. DeBonsa or keep him home.
Yeah, and the biggest question is, obviously, you'd have to really give up something. But you brought up a great point. Maybe you take something on, something that isn't going to last very long, but, your street clothes would be traveling with you.
Well, and that's the question is, are you willing to take on some big-time salary? Because I guarantee most teams out there that will say, yes, we'll take on Anthony Davis's contract could very well end up with the number 1 pick. That's how bad of a contract this is. So he's coming off a year where he made $54 million. Next year he's on the books for $58.4 million. And then he's got a player option in 27-28 for $62.7 million. So a monstrous back-to-back numbers. Would you be willing to take that number on and then maybe go through a buyout, send him on his way somewhere else, and use a lot of that flexibility you're going to have with rookie contracts, with star players eating up a good chunk of your cap with Anthony Davis's contract?
I mean, that is the year that you will have to basically re-up on Keontae George.
Yep.
So there's things to consider there. And then also Bryce Sensabaugh is a guy that you would be paying there as well that year. So, I mean, there's all sorts of things to consider. But, again, I think I just go back to the very first draft the Jazz had right after, Ryan bought the team and Danny was involved. And they basically went into the draft with no options. They had no picks. They had no way in. Really didn't have a lot of tradable collateral. And I remember talking to Danny after the draft, and he said, it was like I was tied to a chair that entire time. And he's like, I will never go through a draft like that. Just like as a player, you want options. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. And I think the Jazz have a myriad of options now. They can obviously try to trade up. If they get through this process and for whatever reason have their on a guy like they feel like will drop, they'll maybe pull the old trade down to get the same guy,
Jason Tatum,
and Markelle Fultz. So I looked into a bunch of what Danny's done in drafts and Austin's done in drafts. So we'll dig into so much, and we'll get into these guys. We'll know them inside and out. We'll know what they like for breakfast.
Yep.
Because that's the way I used to recruit them. So that's the way we'll scout them.
Breakfast?
Yeah, breakfast.
You learn a lot about a guy.
No, I mean, just you got to get into the very detail of what did you eat for breakfast?
I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
I thought you meant you take him to breast. Okay.
Oh, no.
Are you a pancake guy? Because I don't trust waffle guys. Just pancake guys.
Exactly. If you ordered waffles, there's no way we'd offer you that scholarship.
Nope. Yeah.
Something in the analytics.
That says that you're trouble. You talk about analytics, though. The nerds love Cameron Boozer. Love him. He is an analytics darling. This is my personal preference. Nah, I don't go Cameron Boozer. I think Cameron Boozer is the safest of the safe.
And who was the safest of the safe last year in the first 5 picks?
Who was that?
Con Knippel.
Oh, yeah.
And you remember the book on him. Everybody said, yeah, he's just kind of is what he's going to be.
Yeah.
And
honestly, that was pretty damn good.
And that's pretty damn good, right. But I think what the Jazz are looking for in this pick is someone that, and Austin said it last night, that they can look down the road 10 years and, this is their legacy player. I mean, this is the guy who is going to join forces with the end of this timeline and take it through to the next. And so you want, this has got to be obviously the no stone unturned and everything will be understood. And Darren Peterson, I mean, the whole thing with him this year is the big elephant in the room. And so that's a whole nother topic of conversation. So a ton of intrigue, but again, more than anything and most importantly, so many options.
Oh, so many options. And that's really what you want to give yourself is options. Now, are there some people that were probably a little disappointed with not getting the number 1 pick? Yeah, sure. That's fine. But also understand that number 2, as long as you got to 2 was the magic number. Frankly, even 3 was kind of the magic number. But as soon as you got to number 2 and you saw Memphis come off the board, you're like, okay, now you can play. Now you can really play. It's not the same as having number 1, but it's pretty doggone close in terms of the flexibility of what you're going to have. Because we talk about how attractive Washington's pick is. Make no mistake, there's going to be a team out there that absolutely falls in love with Darren Peterson.
Oh, without
there's tons of teams that are going to fall in love with Darren Peterson.
For sure.
Because I'm not so sure, just from a God-given skill ability, that there's a better player in this year's draft.
It's hard for me because, like you mentioned, Boozer, and what we tend to do in the draft is we start talking about the things that guys cannot do.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
So I want to preface everything we do over the next couple of weeks with these are high-level. These are high-level players that are going to play this game for a long, long time. When you're picking 1 and 2, I mean, you're talking about, if you do it right, these are needle movers. So, I mean, I just think that as you break them down, though, you've got to look at the things that, differentiate them and also could give them trouble at the next level. So that's what I'm excited to do. Watched a ton of tape. I felt like it was in college again. We put the babies down because we got the twins still. So we put the babies down. My grandson wanted to watch Bluey. So it was just like having Sam with me, and Anna's in bed and I'm sitting there breaking film while my grandson was watching Bluey. So it was like a whole Back to the Future type thing happened at my house. Bottom line, I got some good I got a good feel for these guys, and so it'll be fun to talk about it over the next little bit.
When you look at AJ Debounce and you look at his skill set and what he could mean to this Jazz organization, certainly jersey sales, publicity, a guy that would be very likely to re-sign with the Utah Jazz, everything that plays along with that. But in regards to him being a generational type player, he's right there, and he's a guy that I think has the ability to elevate your franchise.
Yeah, and the part of it is we all see what he does on the floor.
Yeah,
but the minute this went down, I just started kind of sending out little things to people, try to get some intel. But biggest piece I get from AJ just up front is everything you see on the floor. I mean, what's not to like? And his work ethic will help solve some of the issues that exist. And with these guys, we're talking about things like, they got to close out harder. They got to keep guys, funnel them in a different direction. They've got to kind of be in a stance on the defensive end, make the right pass. I mean, blah, blah, blah. So that's all stuff that can be coached. And we just watched that happen with Keontae George over a couple-year period. But it's more the stuff that he can bring to you off the floor. I mean, it definitely has a presence. Unlike many guys I've been around in the college level, I mean, he just carries himself differently. And I think his ability then in the locker room, I've heard nothing but how great he's been as a teammate. Up and down the roster, the guys love him. The managers love him. The equipment guys love him. He's just a good dude. So I think all that stuff is also another selling point. But the biggest one to me, Scotty, if you could figure out a way to get to AJ, I think you lock in what you want in a 10-year run. I mean, every single guy you bring in here is going to have to sign a new contract and want to stay. And, man, we've been down that road, haven't we? Gordon Hayward, a lot of people come here. They like it. They say the right things, Donovan Mitchell, but they don't want to stay.
Yeah. And honestly, I hate the fact that you have to project on that a little bit, but you have to,
it's
right?
A character
you
thing.
Just have to.
Yeah, you got to know. It's like buying a house and not understanding the zoning in the backyard.
Yeah.
What? That's industrial? I mean, you
Like,
have to look down the road.
Look at this open field in our backyard.
It's beautiful.
And then a year later, you've got a 100,000 square foot data center in your backyard. You're like, oh, wait, what just happened here? So, yeah, you're right. You have to project a little bit on what to expect from these guys.
And that's why I want to be sensitive as we do this, because the bottom line is it is hard business. I just know from the inner workings how much time and energy is put in. So nobody wants to draft a bad player
yes.
or a bust. But, man, you look up and down. I'm looking. The one thing that the Jazz have going for them, or the Wizards have the number 1 pick. And let me just tell you, if you're looking through their track record, it hasn't been stellar in necessarily picking the right guy for that spot. So somehow, some way, I think the play is, at least where I sit right now, find a way to AJ.
Yeah.
And then we'll evaluate everybody else, but I just think you got that close and you've got some capital. You could really understand what the zoning is for. You could lock this thing down for a while.
Well, and I think that's incredibly important too. And it's just and that's, if there's one thing that scares me, is when you look at the potential superstardom of AJ DeBonsa and Darren Peterson, AJ's the safer pick. And that's what makes me nervous, is that Washington is going to be like, okay, we've really swung and missed, and we've really done some problems. So let's go the safest superstar available in AJ and let somebody else take the risk on Darren. And at that point, if I'm the Jazz, then I take that risk on Darren Peterson. But I exhaust every option available to me to get AJ. Every option out there. I mean, I leave no stone unturned. I do everything I can to get him. And if you don't, then fine. Darren Peterson has a chance to be an incredible player in this league. And then you worry about re-signing and all that other stuff a few years down the line. But as of right now, AJ is my number one priority.
Yeah, and I encourage everybody to go back when you get a minute. This is the homework assignment. Can we give homework assignments?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You need to pull up YouTube. And you do watch pre-Kansas film on Darren Peterson. You need to watch, there's several like 12 to 15-minute clips. And it's not just, he dunks. I want you to watch his handle specifically, how he navigates ball screens. He can become a better passer, but he's not bad as a secondary playmaker. But to me, you just look at him, it's his frame. It's his nuance, his skill level. And I know the people he works out with. The guy who works him out is the same dude that works out Damian Lillard. And he swears by this kid's work ethic. So to me, like, there are real reasons why this guy can be great. But you're right, there is so much to uncover, and that's what this process is going to be out. The first layer came out last week saying I took too much creatine.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I've looked into it. I mean, it definitely makes you, it dehydrates you, dries you out. I don't know how long that typically takes to get out of your system. So again, there's just a ton to uncover. But is this kid a good kid? Is he an honest kid? Is he a hardworking guy that doesn't just want to go get paid? He wants to win it.
Yeah.
Those are the things you got to look for. And so that's the road that everybody's on right now. And Darren Peterson, to me, when you do that homework assignment, watch those clips, you can see why, because there are nuanced things that he's actually advanced in ahead of AJ. AJ's got the burst. He's got the ability to, rise up and make just really difficult shots. Darren Peterson's got a couple of things to his game that makes the shots so difficult. Like, he can get to that next step or use a shot fake perfectly just to raise a guy and get where he wants to go. So again, I'm with you. There is not a ton of difference, but there's just so much known about AJ at this point.
I would, and here's the thing, I would caution everyone out there that doesn't have inside information, myself included. I would caution everybody to be very careful about making character judgments about Darren Peterson, because last year, myself included, we all did about Ace Bailey. Like, we heard the headlines and all the other stuff surrounding him and why he was dropping. And it ended up being poor representation. And as soon as Ace Bailey stepped foot in Salt Lake City and got around this team, he immediately showed his true personality of being a hardworking, likable, good-natured kid.
And a dog owner.
And a dog owner, too. And so, obviously, we saw it and this isn't anything what we were told to believe leading up to the draft. This is a good, hardworking kid who is out there busting his butt and just wants a chance to make it and succeed. And bam, he got in the right system and he did. So that there was a narrative on Ace Bailey that proved to not be true. There is now a narrative out there about Darren Peterson. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but we'll probably find out. But I guarantee the Jazz are going to exhaust every option and every resource available to find out the truth on this kid.
Yeah, and because it's worth the time.
Yes.
He's worth the time, especially, if Washington's hell-bent on taking AJ and you can't move. You've got to decide what to do there, and you've got really, in my mind, three options. You've got Peterson, you've got Boozer, obviously, and you've got Caleb Wilson.
I think I would put Caleb ahead of Boozer.
I think his long-term potential, yes, and I also believe with the way the game's played in the NBA today, when people start getting past the numbers and the trophies and all that stuff, they get into how is this dude going to actually help us? I think he could play one position in the NBA. That doesn't help the cause. I think he's a power forward. I don't believe he can protect the rim well enough to be a 5 in this league. You almost have to be superhuman to do that anymore. As long as you don't throw an elbow and get ejected.
Ooh, yeah, we'll talk about that next.
So I think people start digging into it. He may be the guy that slides a little bit in this draft. With all of the accolades. No, I'm serious. I do believe, and not crazy slide, right?
Yeah.
But out of those 4, people have always kind of positioned them, Peterson, AJ 1, one or the other one. And then as AJ separated himself, AJ 1, Peterson 2, Boozer 3, Wilson 4. I would not be surprised through this process if Wilson perhaps jumps him. Yeah. But again, it's all beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Yep. All right, 1048, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. What you may have missed, we'll update you on the NBA playoffs as Wemby got a little cranky yesterday. What does is there a potential suspension coming down the pipeline for that elbow? I'll tell you next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life's sleep.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car's gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
Mammoth and the Utes, Cougars, and Aggies. When it comes to sports in Utah, we've got you covered. This is Scotty G and the coach, Tim LeCaux, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
I didn't see it. They said, people asked, he caught him with the elbow. So obviously when you have a high elbow and you catch somebody, I by no means thought it was intentional. Tough break. So that's all my take on it right now. But in general, I do think it's getting to a point that if the people that are in charge of controlling the game and protecting the physicality of the game don't do that, then at some point he's going to have to protect himself. We've been asking him to do that now for a while. So that call, Nas Reed was okay and sounded like the call was warranted, but in terms of the game plan of every single team we face since that young man's been in the league, and the physicality that people try to impose on him and the lack of protection is really disappointing.
Mitch Johnson talking about his guy Wemby throwing the elbow. Now, to say that was unintentional.
Here, stand right there.
Yeah.
You can see this on the stream, but he's like, wait. Yeah.
He loads
Boom.
up and bam, catches.
And had eye contact.
Was staring it down the whole way. The great was the close-up on Dylan Harper behind him going, what are you doing?
I think even better was when Wemby was on the bench like, what does that mean? He didn't know that was speaking of options, Wemby didn't know that was an option.
Yeah. So Wemby got tossed. So we're expecting a huge fine, right? We're expecting maybe a game or two suspension. Neither are going to happen. Adam Silver and the NBA has decided that the ejection warranted enough, and that is where the punishment has come to an end. So there you go.
You know, in a Disney film, when the villain comes in, it's always usually like dark sounding music with thunder.
Yep.
Anytime we mention Adam Silver, we need to come up with something like that.
Like some villain music?
Yeah, because he's the overlord. He really is. He picks and chooses.
Even like that Star Wars, like, when Darth Vader walks.
Yes. Whatever it is, the Dark Force.
I like that. Yep.
The only way we're going to win this thing is to make him the enemy.
And you know what? He was, I'm sure he wasn't thrilled with the overall results of the lottery yesterday, where he had the two teams that tanked the most outside of the Pacers. And we'll talk about them coming up a little bit. It's not a good day in Indianapolis for sure.
No, and definitely. I saw that one on the schedule, so I know that's getting talked about. I'm getting the schedule down now. I actually look at it, and, as you guys, it's good. This whole thing's coming together just fine.
Oh, well, yeah. Lloyd runs a tight ship around here. No messing around.
His galley, I'll tell you what.
There we go. Here comes Adam Silver.
No, that was for me.
Oh, you're giving yourself intro music. Wow.
With the first pick in the NBA draft, the Utah Jazz select AJ DeBanza.
Or no, we're giving you Boozer. We want AJ. No, you're getting Boozer.
That is interesting because Boozer's an employee of the Jazz.
Yes, Carlos is working for the Jazz.
So I can imagine his scout will be, I think, Boozer to me. It just checks all the boxes.
Ballot Hall of Famer.
Should go one.
Make it happen.
Plus, did you know his dad played? His dad, hey, I don't want to be that guy, but his dad was pretty good.
Dad was good.
Check out his stats.
Yeah. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
I drive my bus in a busy city. That's why road safety is so important to me. I know that I must slow down and be extra careful when I make a wide turn. Buses need more room than cars. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're driving, remember to give buses plenty of time and space to finish turning before driving ahead. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did she have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.